Hey, thanks again for checking out another episode of the Celebrity Jobber Podcast. I'm Jeff Zito, the number one podcast up on Apple Podcast music interviews charts. We've been on and off at number one for a few weeks now, and I can't thank you enough for making that happen. Please subscribe. Would love a 5-star rating and leave a review. Streaming on all podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. And you can check out the back catalog of over 100 different celebrities on CelebrityJobber.com. Some great past episodes, some great guests. So I urge you to go back and check out some of the ones you may have missed. My guest this week is the lead singer of Steel Panther, described on Wikipedia as an American comedic glam metal band from Los Angeles, California, formed in 2000 as Metal Shop and then was also known as Metal School before adopting the name of Steel Panther back in 2008. The band is known for its profane and humorous lyrics and for parodying the stereotypical glam metal lifestyle. These guys have gotten quite famous over the last 10 years, and a huge following of celebrity fans, which has helped them along the way as well. These guys are like a real-life Spinal Tap. Lead singer Michael Starr will tell us the origin story of Steel Panther, tell us about his big break, and not only his first job, but many of the jobs he had before hitting it big with Steel Panther. As you can imagine, this is going to be a lot of fun. Michael Starr from Steel Panther is my guest this week on Celebrity Jobber.
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, give a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Check out all our past episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you pod. What if these celebrities weren't famous? What would they have become? What was their first job? We're about to find out.
Dude, how you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing pretty good, man. You guys getting ready to go out on tour?
Yeah, getting ready, man. I start packing my bag, and then I pack it, right? And then I realize I don't have any clothes to wear because it's all in my bag. So I got to get back in my bag, redo my laundry, and then put it back in the bag. And basically, I should just never take myself out of my bag, really.
It's like you should just have a bag packed for touring all the time, but then what are you going to wear? I mean, you don't have that many. How much rock and roll clothes does one have?
Jeff, I pick out my favorite things I like to wear and put them in the bag, and then I want to wear those things again when I'm home. So it's hard, man. Trying to be prepared is just not my thing. I'd rather just show up with my stage clothes on and rock.
Right. Well, I mean, this has been going on for quite some time with you guys. I mean, it's pretty amazing the popularity that Steel Panther has gotten over the past few years, because, I mean, it's not amazing. I mean, you guys are talented. You're fun. And I think that's maybe something that, we need to focus on. So since Steel Panther is a fun band, when did you guys kind of come up with the idea of a fun, satirical rock band?
That's a great question, man. And I can answer it in a short version or a long version. I'm going to do the medium version because it's important to start from the beginning, right?
Right.
So when we first started out, it was like grunge had just taken over heavy metal. And heavy metal, if you were in a heavy metal band, people started making fun of you. Kind of like if you were in Nickelback, right?
Right.
And it was like that thing going on. But we're like, you know what? We like Nickelback. Or we're like, we love heavy metal. We didn't cut our hair. We kept playing. And we kept playing heavy metal, and people made fun of us. And we were just like, hey, we're going to bring heavy metal back. And really at the core of it, all four of us at that time, all were just having fun anyways. So we just brought it on stage, and we started making fun of ourselves. And people started making fun of the fact that we were making fun of ourselves. And then we would start just pointing out all the absurdity and excessiveness of the 80s that was funny about it, and just started talking about it because it was funny. I mean, you think about a girl dancing on a Jaguar and you're like, wait, what? Why is she on the hood of the car dancing? This is so weird, right? It's funny as hell. But at the time it was like, this is so metal, and just became kind of funny. And we just kept doing it. And just like people actually people would say to us, shut up and play some music. Quit talking, you know? And we're just like, I think the longest time we had in between a song was 25 minutes.
Wow.
And the only reason I know that is because our drummer times everything.
Right.
So he makes sure that we start on time and we end on time and we're on time. So yeah, that's the record we held. And, you know, we just really, at the core, we like to have fun. We like to crack jokes, and we pretty much do the same stuff backstage. And then we just kind of developed it over the years. And then people started calling us a comedy show.
Right.
And we're like, really?
Right.
Comedy? We're not comedians. Really? And then we just kind of, you know, once it got bigger and we started playing really big shows, and we realized that a lot of the quick stuff that we were doing worked in a small venue, we couldn't do that anymore. We had to slow it down and really just kind of make everything a little bit bigger, and it was different. So you had to really kind of plan out like a outline of what you're going to do, and then you can kind of use improv in between all that. So
Right.
that's how it's developed into it. You know, we didn't really sit down and go, hey,
Right.
let's be a heavy metal cover band that makes fun of the bands we love.
Right.
And we never thought it would be that.
It's just evolved into this monster, because it's a monster. Tell me, Michael, a little bit about yourself, because there's something fun that I wanted to mention. It says that you have often been cited as having a PhD in English from the University of California, Berkeley. However, it's a common misconception because you lied about your education to get an apartment when your credit was being checked.
It worked, right? It worked. It worked. I got the apartment. And to this day, people come up to me and go, hey, I can't believe you write all those great lyrics. I go, yeah, man. And they're like, oh, it's because you're an English major, right? And I go, no, it's because Satchel wrote them, dude. I'm just singing them. That's what I do, bro. I'm a wordsmith. I don't make them up. I just sing them. But no, it's just that truth of the matter is, with that PhD thing, I never put that up. And then Satchel kept reading, he goes, you put that up. And I go, no, I didn't put that up. I did not graduate with a degree in English literature. Clearly, right? And Satch was like, oh my God, I can't believe that's up there. And then somebody tried to take it down, and that's what they put up there.
So where did you go to school? Did you go to college, Michael?
Yeah, for 2 weeks. I really did. I went there for 2 weeks, and I realized, you know what? This is not what I want to do. And I remember clearly I met this girl. She was really cute, and she's like, you want to go to the beach? And I'm like, yeah, I want to go to the beach. So we got out of our class, got our bags, and drove to the beach, and I never went back. And I want to be in a band, and I want to surf.
What did you think you were going to do when you said, okay, I'm going to give this college thing a shot? You graduated high school. You're probably playing in bands when you're in high school, interested in music. But when you did go to college for those 2 weeks, what did you think?
Well, no, the reason I thought that is I thought, look, that's what I was taught.
Yeah.
You get a job, you support yourself, which is something I always have done. But then you got to get schooled, and you got to learn a trade, at least something to fall back on in case something happens with the music. But I was like, you know what? I don't want to do anything else. I want to support my dream by working. I don't mind working, but I want to rock. I don't want to waste my time learning a trade that I already know a trade. I know how to sing. I'm going to get paid by singing. And that was my goal, and I achieved it.
Celebrity Jobber. The Celebrity Jobber podcast with Jeff Zito.
What about a regular job ever, Michael? Can you tell me like your first job and anything outside of rock and roll that you've done?
My first job was when I was 11, 12 years old. I had a paper route, and I delivered papers, and I bought whatever I wanted with the money. My next job was when I moved to California. I worked at a bakery, and I hated it, so I quit. And then I worked at McDonald's, and I hated it, and I quit. And then I worked at Wendy's, and I hated it, and I quit. And then I realized I don't want to work at these fast food places. I don't want to work in construction. So I moved up to LA, and I got a job at a place, a company called Film Tracks. And what they did is they placed music in the movies and shows. And so I started working there as just a receptionist, you know, like an intern job basically. And then I ended up moving to work at Capitol Records. And I really liked working there. It was really cool to be around everything and learn the behind the scenes stuff. And that's how I supported myself for a long time is working at record labels.
Wow. And what did you do for Capitol Records? Were you in promo or what were you doing?
I worked in production, manufacturing production.
Oh, wow.
So I literally was working, sending all the films. Like at that time, they would make actual film. You would send the film to the printers would make the albums, right? And the CDs. So my job was to send all the film to different territories around the world and change out all the barcodes and stuff. So that was my gig. And I got to do that for all the bands that we were playing with at the time, like trying to get a record deal. These guys, some bands would get record deals, and then I would be working on their records. Like, oh my God, I couldn't wait to get out there and get signed. That was like the one thing I really wanted to do.
You could go out on a limb right now and say if Steel Panther never worked out, it just didn't happen for you, you'd probably be working at a record label. That seems to be like what your passion was. You could at least stay within, the music biz and, make a living.
Yeah, I think it could have morphed into something else, but I think that at the time that would have been a great opportunity for me to continue on. But I just really, that's a corporate kind of world, but it's the coolest corporate world you could be in. I really enjoy singing. I really do. And I think that, my mom taught me, she goes, look, if you want to make it in the music business, you need to live in Hollywood. And I was like, all right. So I moved up there and I did it. I quit. My last record label job was a record label called Virgin Records. And I worked there in production, but I was just the department assistant. So I would get people coffee and shit.
Right.
And I was like, oh God, this is really rough. And I got offered an audition from Spider back in the day to go try out for this agent. And I tried out for the agent and he put me in one of his cover bands and I started singing there and I quit my day job. And I started singing cover music for a living. It just started there.
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. Celebrity Jobber.
What do you think, Michael, your big break? Like, was there one thing that happened where Steel Panther is just a household name, or maybe it predates Steel Panther? What do you think, if there was ever a moment in time where things changed for you professionally forever?
Well, I think there's a lot of those points that kind of create one point, right? I know it sounds kind of cryptic, but
no, not at all.
Basically, yes, there's a point. Like one point would be me quitting my day job and then start working for that agent and singing in one of his bands, and then losing the weekly gig and not having a job anymore. And then I ended up working on a job site that my brother had a contracting company. And he said, well, you can come work over here and clean up the job site. And I was like, all right, $50 a day. I did that for a while. And then I stood my ground and I did that job. And the agent called me back and said, hey, I got another gig for you. And that was a really big turning point for me because I really thought, oh no, I'm going to have to go back and do work, manual labor. I don't want to do that. And so we started doing that. And that's, pretty much when I met the boys. And I think really what happened is when I met Satchel and I met Lexi and we started working together, that's when everything changed for me because I thought, wow, we really work well together. And then we got Sticks in the fold and then it just all came together. And I'll never forget, we were playing one of our weekly shows at this place called the Key Club on the Sunset Strip. And we're selling it out every Monday night. We're getting paid killer money. Everything was awesome. And the president of Universal Republic Records comes to our show and says, I want to sign you guys.
Wow, there it is.
And that was pretty much, there's so many points that lead up to that and a lot of hard work that lead up to that. But that's really all it ends up being after all the hard work is someone finally decides, hey, I want to sign these guys. And he did. He signed us, and here we are.
With all of the, you've got this huge amount of celebrity fans, right? Who, with everybody that is a fan of Steel Panther, a celebrity fan that's jumped on stage and performed with you guys or did a song with you guys, who was the one that sticks out to you that maybe you've become friends with now over the years? Who's the big celebrity fan? You can't get over it.
Well, so many of them were friends before that. So I think what happens is, for me and the rest of the guys, we all had our own individual friends as well too. So, I would get to meet Satchel's celebrity friends, and he would meet my celebrity friends, and we just all knew each other. But having those people get on stage for me, they're all like really important. A lot of them, some of them aren't with us anymore, but the first dude to get up on stage is Vince Neil.
Wow.
Like this happened in Vegas, like in 91 or some shit, I think. He got up on stage with us, no shoes, and he's hammered, and he sings Live Wire and Shout at the Devil.
Wow.
And I was like, Vince Neil is one of the coolest dudes around. He really is a super sweet guy. And those kind of guys getting on stage with us was really cool because we're big fans. And then, other celebrities that were our age that we knew that ended up having success in their life. The thing that really helped us out with them getting on stage is they would talk about us to other people and spread the word of our band. And it just got everywhere. I mean, people just knew who we were, especially in LA. And that's the right place to be if that's happening.
Yes, sir.
For you.
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito.
Going on tour, I guess, starting next Wednesday. I just wanted to point out some of the tour dates for my radio listeners. November 21st in Sayreville at the Starland Ballroom. Also, the Fillmore in Detroit, November 29th. And probably the gig that I'm going to see you at, Janice Live in St. Petersburg, Florida. That's December 12th.
I love that place. That's a fun
place, man. There's a good pizza place right around the corner, too, that stays open late. Even though, when they say if it stays open late, the pie ain't great, it doesn't matter. It's still hot and it's still 2 a.m. You still get something,
Yeah, we always have pizza after the show.
You got to, right? I mean, it's rock and roll.
Yeah.
You guys got a 15th anniversary album coming out November 18th, correct?
Yeah, and it's really cool because we got 2 tracks that nobody's ever heard before that are going to be on there. There's stuff that didn't make it on the records. And we also have we went through the photo shoot that our photographer shot for that record and picked out some of the ones that were possibly going to be the record cover, but we didn't use them. And so it's all different artwork, and it's really cool. It's a fun piece to get.
So it's the 15th anniversary edition of Feel the Steel, which hits streets on November 18th. And then, of course, if you need more tour dates for Steel Panther, who start next Wednesday, November 20th, you can go to steelpanther.com to see when the guys are coming near you. Michael, I got to tell you, man, you're a lot of fun.
I just want to let you know one more thing.
Yeah,
about the
please.
15th anniversary record is completely not remastered. Okay. Just want to let everyone know. All right?
It's completely not remastered. I love it, man.
Yes, it's exactly the way it sounded when you first heard it. It just has different artwork, and it comes in a vinyl that's pretty cool, and then there's 2 extra songs on it.
Right on, man. You guys are a lot of fun, and I love seeing you guys whenever you come to town. So it was great to get to know you a little bit, and thanks so much for talking to me today.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Thanks for taking the call and spreading the word, man. I really appreciate your support a lot. Thank you.
It's Michael Starr from Steel Panther. I mean, a lot of jobs. The fast food jobs, the record label jobs, which I thought were pretty interesting. His brother had a construction site he cleaned up on. Between jobs, it talked about his big break coming, in a few different phases. One when he got to, sign with an agent who would put him in a few cover bands. And that was kind of a big turning point in Michael's career. Sold out show at the Key Club on the Sunset Strip. And he said the president of Universal Records comes to that show and says, I want to sign you. I mean, pretty much a life-changing event at that point in time, I would say, for Michael Starr and the band Steel Panther, which didn't necessarily start out like, a satirical rock band. That wasn't their plan. Their plan was they loved metal. It was the time of Nirvana and grunge music, and then all that hairband metal stuff from the 80s kind of was passé and not cool, but they still liked the stuff. but they could recognize that, some of the stuff wasn't cool. Maybe wearing makeup, those clothes, dancing on the hood of a Jaguar, as he mentioned, talking about the Whitesnake video, Here I Go Again. Sure, you look at all those things and you laugh at them, and they started laughing at those particular things and laughing at themselves, and slowly it turned into somewhat of a comedy show. These guys are a real-life Spinal Tap. And like I mentioned, celebrity fans have definitely done a lot for these guys. Help spread the word and make Steel Panther kind of a big deal and a breath of fresh air, for sure. And their 15th anniversary edition of their album Feel the Steel, available on November 18th, contains 2 new songs, You Don't Make Me Feel Dumb and I Want Your Tits. And by the way, available on limited edition purple marble vinyl, CD, and cassette. That's right. Check out all their tour dates up on steelpanther.com. Who knows what Michael Starr would have been if not the lead singer of Steel Panther. Probably, I don't know, he wanted to sing in a band, he wanted to surf, and I guess he's doing everything now and making money. He went to college for 2 weeks. He did seem like maybe working in a record label, even though he said it was corporate, but it was probably the most fun corporate job there was. That could have been a career path for Michael Starr of Steel Panther, but who knows? Good thing he made it. He doesn't have to wonder about what he would have been doing. Man, thank you for checking out another episode of the Celebrity Jobber Podcast. It is one of the top shows on Apple Podcast in music interviews and music podcast charts. We've been number 1 in music interviews on and off for weeks now, so thank you so much for that. Please subscribe. Would love a 5-star rating and leave a review. We're on all podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Past episodes are up on CelebrityJobber.com, and follow the Celebrity Jobber Podcast on Instagram. That's CelebrityJobber_podcast, or YouTube.com/the@CelebrityJobber. So, do you remember back in 1989, one of the biggest songs of the summer from a rapper called the Young MC? Remember that song, Bust a Move? It was featured in the movie The Blind Side and a ton of other movies. I can't even tell you how many other movies that song was featured in. And it was a huge hit 35 years ago. The Young MC will be my guest next week right here on Celebrity Jobber. So really excited to share that with you. Until then, have a great week. And thanks again for listening. I'm Jeff Zito.